You did put out a very strong statement today accusing the Undersecretary of State, Patrick Kennedy, of, quote, bartering with classified information. Why are you laying the blame on Kennedy when it's unclear, at least based on the information we have, who requested any favor? Do you have any evidence that this exchange even happened?
Yes, I do, because it's in the FBI notes. It was an FBI document that said, from the FBI's perspective, that they were engaged with Patrick Kennedy, the Undersecretary for Management, direct report to Hillary Clinton, that they were engaged in a quid pro quo. That is a quote right out of their report. And remember,
but it's sort of unclear, Congressman,
they were under subpoena.
Who raised the issue first, the FBI agent who was talking with Kennedy, or Kennedy, who came up with this so-called quid pro quo idea, the State Department allowing more FBI agents to serve at embassies around the world, or the declassification of this Hillary Clinton email on the private server? Whose idea was it first?
Well, you have the Undersecretary for Management throwing this out there. Remember, this is a document that is under subpoena. And rather than complying with the subpoena and sending it to Congress as required by law, they're over there having a negotiation and a discussion that the FBI terms in their own documents as a quid pro quo. I'm not exactly definitive or sure whose idea it was first, but you have one party saying, I've got slots overseas that I really need. You have another one saying, I need to change the classification of an email to protect Hillary Clinton, and they have this discussion, and it goes on for some time. It's not like, hey, this was just quick. It went up the food chain. It was being negotiated. It was being discussed. And that, to us, according for me and the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes, we believe that is a potential violation of law, and that Mr. Kennedy, engaged in those activities, is wrong. And there are multiple parts in the 302s where Mr. Kennedy was repeatedly, not just in this one case, repeatedly pressuring people to change the classification of documents that were under subpoena.
Right.
Nobody should be able to do that. Nobody.
Undersecretary Kennedy, as you know, is a career diplomat. He served in the Bush administration. Served under Republican secretaries of state, under a Democratic secretary of state. He's obviously not part of the Clinton campaign right now. Do you have any evidence that Hillary Clinton herself knew anything at all about this so-called quid pro quo?
No, I don't. To say that Hillary Clinton directed this, I have no evidence of this. But you have a person who directly reports to Hillary Clinton. You also have, in these 302s, Hillary Clinton's own attorneys at Williams & Conley left their employment at Williams & Conley, went to work at the State Department. You have a State Department career employee said that upstairs on the 7th floor they were operating, and I quote, a shadow government, end quote. So instead of Hillary Clinton just opening up, saying, hey, I made a mistake, let's get all these documents out there, as she has said, that is not true. Her actions were to bring in her own attorneys, push aside the career employees, and make these determinations with her own personal attorneys rather than the career employees. But that is so wrong.
You know the FBI director, James Comey, and other FBI officials, they knew all about this so-called quid pro quo, and they decided not to recommend any criminal charges against Hillary Clinton. You have a problem with that?
Yeah, I do have a problem with it, because when you say that there was not necessarily any intent, and you bring in Kate Duvall, the person who is looking at Lois Lerner's emails at the IRS, and you bring her over to work on the State Department, and she's a former Williams & Conley employee, and you bring other people from Williams & Conley,